seen Camron sitting in like a Navigator, like basically what is now Monarch. Back then it was something else.
So you didn't even know he was gonna be here. You just seen him outside.
I just seen him sitting out in a little, him and his cousin Tito sitting in a Navigator.
The Tito roll that Dutch, Tito, like yeah.
They was just sitting in a Navigator, listening to the Timberwolves game on the radio.
Wow.
And I was just like, Cam, and then like once I'm like, Cam,
It ain't
I said,
that
like,
I can't stop, it's that I won't stop. I made a few plays off a flip, now I'm on top. I'm Southside Chief, homie. Yeah. What you know about it? Lake Street legend CEO, not the co-founder. What you wanna know about me? I'm so turfed up. I'm the last man standing, but I went first up. Most hated, they don't say it when I roll up. The things that people say about me, they don't say close up. Check it. I ain't been to the booth in a minute. Niggas hate the fact that I'm winning.
Yep. I'm on Lake Street, yo. When you poppin' in Minnesota, you gotta go check it out. Facts, okay? We gonna be on that joint
Live on motherfucking Lake Street, man. Yeah, different.
I don't know how to say it. Say it. Say it.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Live on Lake Street. My name is Mr. Peter Parker, representing those heavy hitter DJs worldwide. In the studio today, the A&R extraordinaire. We're talking 38th in Chicago. Southside native. We're clapping in the studio right now for the homie Ace. What's happening?
Thank you. What's up? What's
I know
up?
you for a very long time. We always have super dope behind the scenes like industry conversations, but I never sat down and really built with you and really kind of pried into some of your business.
Yeah.
And just sitting here and prepping for this, I'm continuously impressed about the shit that you take nonchalant. Like you just this is something you do. And I think when you get down into that bag, it becomes regular. No matter how spectacular it is. And he was mentioning certain names, and it's like, oh yeah, like just off the cuff. You've been doing this for how many years?
About 20 years.
At least.
Yeah, about 20. I started when I was like 19.
And originally, you were out here doing like street team stuff, like kind of like lifestyle, retail, working records.
I started out street team. Like one of my friends had met Russell Simmons and really asked Russell for a job, and Russell Simmons said, like, I don't even own Def Jam no more, but I could connect you with the street team guy. Rob Love was his name. And they was like, if you want to put up posters and pass out albums and CDs for free,
that's how I started. Me and Static Selector used to do it in Boston, and the snipes and the poster boards and the retail, going in and asking a barbershop, can I hang these up here? Like, literally. It's really like guerrilla marketing. Yeah. So that's dope to know that you came from that, like you're cut from that cloth. It makes sense why you're so good with relationships and why you move around so freely, because that's a challenging gig.
And at the same time, I also was, I wasn't even the bar back. I used to be the runner at the Quest, the nightclub, right? So
with the legendary spot,
the runner's under the bar back. So like I'm the guy that used to have to sweep the floors when people throw up. I used to have to carry the garbage out. And imagine like the Quest was like the spot, right? So I used to have to like sweep the floors when when all my homies was in there partying, girls. I'm in here like
crazy.
Yeah, I'm carrying a bag of garbage around the club. So
Yeah,
like,
right.
That was probably like my most humbling experience, is just like being with your peers, but you literally carrying a bag of garbage, or somebody throw up and they like, you gotta clean up the throw up.
No, but son, you talking about a time pre-social media, before it was even like conceptualized, and the things that we had to do to put ourselves in position to get on. You had to literally mop up puke to be the guy you are today. So it makes sense why you're so serious about how you move, because you have a great opportunity. I know you work for, you were saying, Def Jam, Rockefeller, out here. You mentioned off the mic when we started about, he was like, oh yeah, I knew Cam, and then we were talking about Camron a little bit. Talk about initially some of the things you did in the street team world and your associations with people like Camron and stuff like that. All right, so one time for the homie Jeremy Eggert. We're taking a quick break to talk about his website, Artwork by Jeremy. I know you've been really selling yourself short on the graphic design tip. We need to step up the website. We need to step up the flyers. My man has international clients. He can do all of this for you. He can make your content look fantastic, thumbnails, anything for the gram. He got you covered, okay? Stop selling yourself short. Step your life up and tap in real quick with artworkbyjeremy.com.
Peter Parker!
Cam, and then we were talking about Camron a little bit. Talk about initially some of the things you did in the street team world and your associations with people like Camron and stuff like that.
Yeah, so doing Street Team basically allowed me to be like a representative of the record label here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So basically, I took it as anybody that came to town that was an artist of the label. I feel like I was the person they needed to connect.
represented them.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I was like a represent. So basically, at the time, Def Jam had Rockefeller, Murder Inc. and Rough Riders was all
With the
under
glory
Yeah,
days,
it was
yeah.
like the heyday of the thing.
Yeah.
So and it was the kind of the heyday of the rock, right? And Cam
Yeah.
had just got signed, and so anytime a Rockefeller artist, because that was probably like my favorite rappers at
Hell
the time.
yeah.
You couldn't tell me I wasn't part of state property at the time. You
The
know, like
best.
I was Freeway and Beans and all those. So anytime artists would come to town, I would just like make sure I figured out a way to connect with them. And
Yeah.
with Cam, it was literally a situation where I had just happened to be downtown Minneapolis. He happened to just be in town in Minneapolis for the night, just seeing what the city was about. It was about 9 p.m. at night, and the whole downtown was clear.
You were talking about he originally was out here because he was down in Rochester.
Yeah.
I remember hearing a story about Cam having liver disease from like
Yeah.
drinking and stuff, and then he got through that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
he was here treating that.
Yeah, he
and
was in
popped up.
Rochester for like a few days doing something medically, and he was
Yeah.
bored in Rochester, so he's like, I'm gonna just drive up to Minneapolis for the night and see
Just
what's
to peep
cracking.
it, yeah.
And it was like a Monday night at like 8 p.m. and the city was empty, like dead empty, and I just happened to be going to like give the DJ the records before the club.
Wow.
And I just seen Camron sitting in like a Navigator, like basically what is now Monarch. Back then it was something else.
So you didn't even know he was gonna be here. You just seen him outside.
I just seen him sitting out in a little, him and his cousin Tito sitting in a Navigator.
the
in
Tito
front of-
roll that Dutch Tito like yeah.
They was just sitting in a Navigator, listening to the Timberwolves game on the radio.
Wow.
And I was just like, Cam, and then like once I'm like, Cam, first thing I said, like, yo, I'm your street team out here. Like I'm with the Rockefeller Street
And
team.
he was
like,
hip.
he was like, oh, tight, all right, what's up? Get in the car.
Wow.
And then he was at the time he was going through Purple Haze, the track listing for Purple Haze. He had like 40 songs, so he was narrowing down the Purple Haze track list,
Which is like
in the
arguably
car.
his best album, yeah.
And he was rolling Purple Haze. I had like
my
I'm from
God.
Minnesota, so I didn't even know what Purple Haze was for real. So I'm just
Arguably,
like,
I'm still looking for the strain. Like literally,
Yeah.
my favorite strain of all time is Hayes. Yeah.
Yeah, so like literally, we just chopped it up. He was playing that album. We was kind of peeping, going back and forth between the Timberwolves. This is when the Timberwolves was in the finals against, or the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers.
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
that time of the culture was happening.
shit.
So it was like, yeah, we built from there. And I was like I said, I was like, Minneapolis popping. Like tonight's just not. It's a Monday night. Like
Right,
it's not. I'm
right.
like, but trust me, if you stay at the time, we had a club night called Pharaoh's Night every Wednesday. It was like one of the hottest nights in the city for
Sure.
a couple years. So I was like, if you stay till Wednesday, I promise I'll show you like what the city's really
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
So he was like, are you sure? And I think the Timberwolves like had a game back in Minnesota the next day. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna stay and see what you're talking about. And the next day, I think KG gave him some tickets to the game.
Oh,
Then
word.
Wednesday he came to our night, took him to the club, had him
So
in the
he
club.
really showed up too.
Yeah, like yo, he was down. Like he ended up staying in town in the city for like a week with me. Like just like where should I go? What's popping today? And
That's
he built
something
with
I
people.
know about him. He got a great memory.
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
met Cam once, you know Cam.
Yeah,
Like
and he
he's-
started flying his people in, like, or like the little behind the scenes Dipset guys started flying in town, and like they kicked it in town for like a week.
when you see now Cam in this new space and doing like It Is What It Is with Mace and his sports thing, he pivoted. Being around him and being soaking in some of that energy, does this make sense to you that he's still as active as
Cam
he is?
definitely like one of the ultimate hustlers as
Definitely.
far as just like monetizing the game and just understanding like he's not somebody that's gonna wait for someone else. You know, he's a hustler. He's from Harlem.
Yeah.
They got the ultimate hustle.
Get
you know
to
what I'm
it.
saying? Like, yeah, so yeah, for sure. I mean, he helped me get to it. You know, like when he came in town that time, he ended up shipping in like 1,000 Dipset mixtapes. He gave them to me, let me get busy. I probably made like $5,000 selling them
Yeah,
on Broadway.
right.
Over, you know what I'm saying? I
Because
got
it was the
busy in
hottest
street.
thing in the world.
Yeah, like it was all 5 volumes of Dipset mixtape. You know, I had a pack for
wow.
everybody. Like I
Oh,
get 3 for 10s. Like I was on the block like
So
it was
you
work.
were
Like
lit. Like Broadway. I'm thinking about
yeah,
03
Scissor,
out here.
DVD,
Get
all
outta
that.
here,
Yeah, it
bro.
was like
Get
kind of
outta
the
here.
heyday. And then when we started having the rest of the Dipset started coming, like my man Mark Webster, he started building. He built
Yeah.
with Jewels.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
We had Jewels come up here. He did like Freestyle Fridays at Digital City with Jewels. Like came and judged it. Then we had Jewels on like Big E's on Nicolette. Like we kind of made them accessible. I think they took
I didn't
they took
know
them to
that
Studio
Dipset had a
4.
wave here. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
we like kicked that whole thing off as far as like us being like
Dope.
the introduction of like bringing the Dipset wave to the city for real like that.
That is an amazing story about the beginning of your career. It makes sense why you're so successful and you've done so many cool kind of like off the cuff behind the scenes things. Being an A&R, you got multiple Minnesota artists, national record deals, independent deals with Empire. We're talking about Rock Nation situations. You're an A&R. Can you describe to someone listening that maybe wants to be that, thinks they know what that is, about actually what you do? Like, how would you describe it?
I think the definition of A&R has evolved. I think now at its most simplistic form, A&R is basically someone that helps an artist create records. right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like the simplest definition is like someone they help you get with the right producers, they help you get with the right engineers, they help kind of just like be that support system to finish the actual songs.
Yeah.
And then from there you try and finish an actual album, right?
Yeah.
And then kind of the next layer up is like finding and discovering and developing talent, right?
Yeah.
It's like I
Yeah.
might hear a song, I might go to Milwaukee and there's a certain record cracking in Milwaukee. I'm gonna go find the artist and then like try and bring them into the fold. So that's like kind of the next level of A&R. That's kind of like I would say like the most basic sense
Are
of
you
A&R. But
pitching-
also I say like for A&R too, like what a lot of people, your A&R really, I believe, is like your champion in the building when it comes to
Yes.
record labels. Like,
Yes.
your A&R is going to be the person that tells the PR lady what, like, this is the plan. She's the person that makes sure the digital person is working
Yeah.
the right record.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, your A&R is really important to the whole success
It's
of
like
your
a coach?
project. Be kind of, yeah, coach, but almost like a rep. Like, they're like your one in
Yeah.
the building that's, like, making sure the rest of the label doesn't, like, let your project fall, and they gonna usually have a close relationship with you to keep shit real too.
It's like a
If,
partnership.
if someone else is dropping the ball on the team, like I would want my A&R to be real with me and say like, yeah, the label might have, because labels aren't successful. Like probably 90% of the time, labels aren't successful. But it's like it's usually one or two pieces that will be like, it didn't work because of this, and you want your A&R to be somebody who's gonna be like the straightforward, keep it real with you person.
Do you feel like this is something that you want to do for a long time, or you're using this to move into a different realm in the business?
Yeah, I'm kind of like a little bit moving into a different realm of the business just because
I can see it.
I don't know. I just,
What are you working on right now?
well, right now I got like a regular 9-to-5 job, so I'm building basically I work with Machine Gun Kelly and building a nail polish company with him.
Whoa. So you got Kel's, like, is this his brand?
Yeah, so Machine Gun Kelly has a brand called Undone Lacquer. It's a nail polish, it's a kind of lifestyle business.
Yeah.
It started with nail polish, but we're starting to get into other things, and
Yeah.
we'll eventually open up a few other categories. But probably for the last year, we've just been really focused on building out this nail polish business.
How did that relationship, that Machine Gun Kelly thing, come to play?
Man, really, like we probably met a couple times in passing, and then I had an art gallery in Minnesota like 10 years ago, and I curated a photo exhibit with him.
Yeah.
Basically, him, his photographer, and myself did like a photo exhibit for the launch of one of his albums.
Yeah.
That came out. General Mission was the album.
I remember.
And like from that, we just built it. Like our relationship
Yeah.
just continued to kind of like thrive from there. You know.
He's an incredible kid, man. Great artist, like great person, and to see his pivot and what he's been able to do is, I never saw it coming. I knew that he was really kind of doing the Blink 182 covers at a certain point, and then it seemed like it was going to be a natural progression. I think he's coming back to do a hip hop album too.
Yeah, he's definitely in hip hop mode for sure.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
we
I'm
got to show
excited.
people he can really rap. Everyone knows, but we got to really hear that again,
Yeah,
man.
he was hit me like a week or two ago. He told me to come by the studio, but I kind of was just like, I almost just want to hear it when it's like the final.
See, look, you be doing spectacular shit and treating it regular. He's like, oh no, I'm gonna wait. Look at
I
you.
want to just see when it's. You know, what I mean, I don't know. I could.
It's smart though, because he's working. Like you try to
Yeah.
craft it. You got some people out here signed. You've been able to pull off some amazing things. I know you work with free Wi-Fi. You
Yeah, for
spoke
sure.
on that. It got really far. It didn't go where it was supposed to go. I know you got a deal for Big Bottle Wana over there with Rock Nation.
Yeah.
Can you describe what is the tipping point that gets these kids signed? Like, how are you able to pull this off? Everybody wants a situation, which is really finance to their career.
Yeah.
It takes a person like you to kind of put it together. How are you pulling this stuff off? All right, so we're going to take this quick break real quick to highlight our good folks over there at the Kitchen by Baked brand inside the global market. They got some of the best food out here in the Twin Cities. One thing you got to know about me, I don't really like go to the mainstream spots. I'm all about the little mom and pop, little neighborhood spots that have the best food. Next time you're out there at the global market, you got to check out the stuffed turkey leg. They got this butter sauce. We're talking about the best wings in Minnesota. It's happening right now at the Kitchen by Baked brand inside the global marketplace, and they're a proud sponsor of Live on Lake Street.
I think like two things is probably energy and relationships. It's like the easiest way. One, the artist needs to have a certain energy about them, and then the relationships that probably I have, like the people that are signing, they're like, these are probably long existing relationships that I have with A&Rs or record people, and because of that, they trust what I say. So if I say this artist is hot, they like, oh, all right, what should Ace say? And because I've been in it for a long time, and my track record is probably like, you know, I used to give Nipsey beats like 17 years ago, 16 years ago. And I remember I used to get in trouble when I worked at Warner Bros. For putting Kendrick on J-Rock's records. Like, my boss used to be like, why is he on all the promo for J-Rock?
But so you
I'm like, this dude's spitting low-key like harder than dude does. Like,
but you've been really connected to these guys early on in their careers and behind the scenes, like low-key helping these people.
Yeah, like they asked me to do a K-Dot mixtape art cover, like album cover. I mean, it was a mixtape at the time, but like, yeah, I've been back when he was K-Dot. And like, I literally used to be like the dude, Frank Ella, or some dude at the, he worked, he was the head of radio promotions at Warner Brothers. He literally used to tell me like, why do you always get K-Dot off of J-Rock's records? Like, he's always in J-Rock's promo videos. I'm just like, dude, kind of spitting too, like, you know.
Yeah, no, so, we knew, we saw the maturation of Kendrick Lamar, and it kind of came out of nowhere. Another guy that was able to build a career over a long time is Nipsey. And you talk about sending beats to him 17 years ago. I knew him in like 2009 when he was really kind of breaking in the beginning. I knew him in 2010, 11, 12 in that area for a little bit. I knew him in 2016, 17, right before he passed. Can you talk about the relationship you had with Nipsey?
Yeah, like really, I actually just had this conversation with someone, but like I knew him really through like kind of some street situation that I just happened to be witness to, and then somebody kept telling me like I bear witness to a situation with like Big U, and somebody was like, this dude's like, they were telling me about his legacy and like who dude was, and I was like, all right, and then he came into the office like a week after I heard like some crazy fantasy fairy tale that Corrupt had told me like about this magical figure. That
Corrupt from the Dog Pound?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
He was like, yeah, this dude just got out. He's And like a week later, he just happened to come into the office, and everything Corrupt had told me, I was like, man, I low-key think this is the same dude. And Nipsey, it was him and Steve Lobel and Nipsey that came into the office, took the interview, and me and Nipsey probably like 2 years difference in age.
Yeah.
So I'm like the only young dude in the label.
So
as soon as we get there, he's like, boom, boom, boom. Then like 2 weeks later, he went and had an interview. This was at Virgin Records. And then 2 weeks later, I was also interning at Warner at the same I was working at Warner Brothers at the same time. He went and had a meeting at Warner Bros. He seen me again, like, and I'm with the A&R, I'm in the A&R at Virgin, Brian Postel. Then I'm with Naeem Ali, the A&R at Virgin. He like, every building I've been going into, you the only young dude in here, my age. So we from there, like, I started going to the studio with him. I have him, he'd come by this place called Street Elements, pick up beats, or I bring beats to him. And I used to go to the studio with him a lot, but he was a really slow recorder at the time. So I used to fall asleep.
He was in general, like I think he took a long time.
He took a really long time. So I used to fall asleep on the couch in the studio so much that like I kind of stopped going because I felt bad. Like, you don't want to be that guy that's always sleeping. The guy.
No, but it's a long night to be in there and smoking
and
or whatever.
Not rapping, I'm just sitting there like, all right, cool. So.
Can you talk about the slow recording process? Is it strategy wise, just taking his time with it?
It's about perfection. Like he wanted every word to be perfectly articulated exactly how he wanted. So he might record one or two words and be like, nah, that don't sound like. He would just go couple, but one like I don't even know if he would ever do a whole bar. Like he'd take forever to get the exactly how he wanted that one bar. He would work on that for 15, 20 minutes just to get that exact bar, and then he moves to the next bar and like spin however, make sure he's exactly like that. Like he was that real particular about how he spoke and articulated everything he said.
I asked him when he put out Victory Lap, I was like off the record, off the mic, I said, how long were you picking the beats for this? Because the beats were so good. It was like everything was crazy, and he was like 3 years to pick the beats for this project. He was so calculated. And I think when you see what Nipsey evolved into, I know him as like this kind of West Coast guy that was trying really hard and would never give up and made good music that was kind of regional, and then kind of like TDE and everything, kind of the sound starts to become more mainstream, and then Nipsey is about to have this moment. Did it really touch you personally when he passed?
Oh yeah, for sure, because that was probably the closest artist that I've had ever like bonded with, work with, that like when I got to LA, because like I said, I'd known him for so long. I seen him go from like not good music to like being the guy, and he was the same though. Every time I went to his last birthday party before he passed, and he was there with all his squad, like 200 of his guys, and he seen me and he cut like he like cleared the light. Nah, he's good. Come on, let him cut through all the homies straight to get to him. He's like, I appreciate you coming. Even when he was in the club, I got a video. When I see him in the club, he was standing in his booth. He like gave me a little salute when he seen me. His
character was so high as like one of the homies. Like I felt that like he would go out of his way to say nice things or be thoughtful.
Yeah. I took Daddy De Niro to meet him, and when Daddy De Niro met him, Nipsey was like, yo, you with Ace? He got you. You good then? I like just the fact that he like stamped me like you guys De Niro that, you know what I'm saying?
Daddy De Niro is one of the dopest artists in Minnesota, talent wise, his natural gift. Shout out to Daddy, man. He's very, very, very slept on. Super hot, man. So out of everybody you work with, we're talking about these cool stories about Camron and Nipsey and them. Who's your favorite artist that you ever worked with?
My favorite
outside of Nipsey, you know what I mean, and Camron.
I mean, there's an artist that I work with still to this day, like Jazzy. I'm a tour manager for her. She's an R&B singer. She was a songwriter turned singer. I love, that's like my sister. So it's like I love. She's such a good energy. Like she's a real like loving person. So I like working with her because it's real love with her. That's probably like just general love. Like I love working with her. But like, who else? I mean, there's a lot of people I like working with for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think coming up, the nail polish thing we're working on, the A&R stuff we're working on, do you see yourself owning a label, owning your own company, running your own situation?
I think that's probably like the only way to do it going forward, honestly. Like,
because you're helping a lot of people grow, and I know you ride the wave, you get paid how you get paid, you make your money, but eventually starting to get I feel like you could really run your own situation. Do you see that for yourself?
I don't know if I see it for myself. I see it could happen. I'm like I'm 1 foot in and 1 foot out, meaning like
I get it.
I'm gonna be honest, like I could do it. I would probably do it from afar though. I've spent my time in the clubs. I spent my time in the studio. For me, that chapter of my life is probably winding down.
Yes, and I think you need to be that guy to break these records.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. But we see, cause somebody could always. I remember when I was a kid, like. My dad was so in the business. He did Prince and Bobby Brown and shit. But after Bobby Brown, Bobby Brown.
Rewind. Your dad was in the business, and he worked with Bobby Brown, New Edition, Bobby Brown.
No, like Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown.
Okay,
so that was like a whirlwind, you know.
It's amazing.
But when he came out of that, he was so worn out from dealing with that
tough time. Yeah.
That like I remember like in 15, he got offered to do Christina Aguilera. And he turned it down because he was just like, I'm done with the business. And I feel like that would have been his, like, if he would have took that would have been his, like, cash out. Never, you know what I'm saying?
But he was so jaded.
Tired. He was like, I'm tired of dealing with artists. Like,
I get it. So that must have been a big influence on you having your pops in the business?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, your pops still around? He still mentor you?
Oh, yeah. He does more film. He runs the Minnesota International Film Festival. So he does more, like, he's more into the film stuff now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gives me like little jewels. I actually just watched the interview that he did maybe like a week ago, and I was like grabbing little sound bites and clips. I'm like, oh, that was a nugget.
You're still picking up jewels from him?
Yeah, like I said, I watch it on the interview just like everybody else.
Crazy.
Like, oh, that was
That's
smart.
dope,
like,
bro. Yeah. I didn't know that, man.
One of the like things, I'm gonna share this with you because I thought for me it was impactful, so I feel like I could share it. There was a part where the question they asked him was talking about like the film, what makes people want, and the line he said was like, people gotta want to watch your movie. And I really took that outside of the context of film, of like life. In order to be successful in life, critically or financially, people gotta want to watch your movie. Meaning they gotta want to watch what you do, how you do it, and the way it's done by you. You know, and that's just everything in life. Like people
being compelling overall,
being compelling about everything. Whether you're a barber or a tattoo artist or about like people, you gotta do it in the way that people want to watch it. And like
100%, you gotta really like I saw these local rappers. I was like, yeah, you can rap, right? But like, could you get a grown man to leave his house in the wintertime, park his car, wait in line, pay to get in, stand there with a coat on when he got a child at the house and people telling him to be somewhere? They gotta need to see you.
Your movie,
you gotta be giving them something that they leaving the house for, making a sacrifice. Because realistically, what, $20 a park, it's a $60, $80 night to come support your music.
So yeah, you gotta make that shit a movie.
You gotta be lit. Is there anybody in the game that you see that you think you could help with your A&R skills?
I think I can help everybody with my A&R skills. That's part I'll be like.
I'm telling you.
I'll be like.
But if you had a dream situation, who would you lock in with? Oh, I can help him so much.
I always tell like Dre, who's MGK's manager, I always be like, let me A&R Kel's album. I feel like I can help.
Crazy.
Like, I don't know. I just got my own little twist on how I would approach the game. But well, if there's like a star. I be feeling like there's certain people that are stars and they haven't quite maybe found it musically.
I get it.
Like, you know, like I said, when I met Nipsey, when I met him, I knew like that. He reminded me of what it must have felt like to meet Snoop Dogg and like when the Chronic dropped. You just felt the energy of like, oh, that's a star.
When I met Wiz Khalifa for the first time, he was
like
in a little studio, and he was doing drops, and I walked in, and he was 6'5", covered in tattoos, rail thin. I was like, this is something. I don't know what this is, but this is something.
Like, that's somebody I work with too. Like we put out this first record, Say Yeah, that techno remix he put out.
I was there for it. I broke it.
Yeah, so we did that first. I did his first show. First show, I got him $500. The next show, I got him $1,000.
Were you talking about remember the show he did at Epic? He did a show.
This is in LA. This is his first show ever. When he first
did
came
one
to
here
LA.
with like maybe 300 people early on, and then I saw that go from 300 to 30,000 within like 6 months. You know what I mean? Like, very, very cool. If people want to reach out and they want to sweat you to try to get them a record deal or harass you online, how do they do that? I'm joking. I'm kidding.
Instagram.
You should have seen his face when I said that. He was like, I'm not giving up any information. How do they tap in? How do they tap in?
Email me. Matter of fact, just email me. My email pretty, it's easy to remember.
What is it?
acestreet@gmail.com.
ACE?
ACE Street.
At Gmail. acestreet@gmail.com. You better send the demos. Tap in with this guy. Definitely putting on for the Twin Cities, putting on for Minneapolis in a great way. And I feel like you're going to do some really... I know you've done some great stuff, but I feel like you're going to do some great stuff in this industry still. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Tap in with my guy live on Lake Street, Mr. Peter Parker. One time for the church, man. Southside Chief, we in here. Shout to Corp.
It ain't that I can't stop. It's that I won't stop. I made a few plays off a flip. Now I'm on top. I'm Southside Chief, homie. Yeah. What you know about it? Lake Street legend CEO, not the co-founder. What you wanna know about me? I'm so churched up. I'm the last man standing, but I went first up. Most hated, they don't say it when I roll up. The things that people say about me, they don't say close up. Check it. I ain't been to the booth in a minute. Niggas hate the fact that I'm winning.
I'm on Lake Street, yo. When you popping in Minnesota, you gotta go check it out. Facts, okay? We gonna be on that joint
live on motherfucking Lake Street, man. It's different.
I don't know how to say it. Say it. Say it.